Hello, this is Susan Poss. We are continuing on in Chapter 2. We are now in Section 6, and this is the third video from Section 6. This has just a few word problems that I wanted to help you set up. Then if you have questions on others, you can email me or reach out to me through the Hawks website. All right, so here we go with the first one. Two sides of a triangle measure 11.1 centimeters and 16.3 centimeters. If the perimeter is 31.6 centimeters, what is the length of the third side in centimeters? Now, anytime I have something to do with a triangle, I always try to make a little sketch. Anything to do with geometry, really. If it's something where I can draw a square, a rectangle, a triangle, a circle, I try to do that. So one of the sides is going to be clocking in at 11.1 centimeters, and the other one is 16.3 centimeters. And what you and I are trying to find is the length of that third side. So what I've done here in my list of assigning the variable is I've assigned x to the length of the third side. And then I've written down a quick definition of perimeter. Perimeter is the sum of all the side lengths. So I'm going to now try to write an equation that models what I'm seeing in this example. A triangle with three sides. The length of all three sides add up to 31.6 centimeters. So I like to do a little sketch. I've got these three side lengths. So there they are, 1, 2, 3, and the sum of those three sides is 31.6 centimeters. So let me look at my triangle up there. One of the sides measures x, one of the sides measures 11.1, the other side measures 16.3, and those things all total up to 31.6. So just as we talked before, here are two like terms that are sitting on the same side of the equation. And so my next step is to try to compress or combine. So I'm going to add together the 11.1 and the 16.3, and I think that's going to be 27.4. I may need to get my calculator up and running for some of these decimal values. All right, so now as I proceed on to solve, you can see that I need to subtract away this 27.4 from both sides to maintain the balance, to isolate the variable x. And I'm going to quickly type into my calculator 31.6 subtract 27.4, and that leaves me 4.2. So if you refer back to the drawing, you can see that that is the length in centimeters of the third side, or the missing side, whatever you chose to call that variable. All right, so that's our first example. Of course, you can run back up here and replace x with 4.2 centimeters, and then you should be able to take those three side lengths, add them back together again, and come up with this 31.6 centimeters, and you can see that you do, and so you know that your answer is correct. All right, so moving on to the second one. Sue is 7 inches shorter than her 71-inch tall brother. How tall is Sue in inches? So remember I said sometimes it's a good idea to go to the end and see what the question is, and that will tell you some information about assigning the variable. So I've decided to let the variable S stand for Sue's height, and she is 7 inches shorter than her brother. So if she is S height, then her brother is taller. Is that right? Let me read that again. Remember I said we have to read them several times. Sue is 7 inches Sue is 7 inches shorter. Careful. She is shorter than her 71-inch tall brother. So I take her height, add 7 to it, and that will represent her brother's height. She is shorter. Another way you could do this is that you could let B stand for the brother's height, and then you would come up here and let B minus 7 represent Sue's height. That may make more sense to some of you, so I'll leave that out there and you can think about it. All right, but I'm going with this. Her brother is 71 inches tall, so I need to figure out how I'm going to use that. Well, S plus 2 is her brother's height, and they tell me that 71 is the brother's height. So I'm taking two things that represent the brother's height, and I'm going to put in my little red dotted line. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides of this equation. So Sue's height is 64, what unit are we in? Inches. And that is 7 inches shorter than her 71-inch tall brother. All right, so the last one here I wanted to work with you is working with a 26-foot board that is being sawed or chopped up into pieces, 3 pieces. So I tried to do a little diagram here for you. This is representing the board right here. And you see I've labeled it 26 feet from end to end. And then I'm indicating that it's being sliced up into 3 pieces. So there's the first piece, the second piece, and the third piece. All right, so let's do some reading here. The second piece is 4 feet longer than the second piece. The second piece is 4 feet longer than the first. All right, so it's asking me to find, come down here and take a look at this. Hold on. What are the lengths of the 3 pieces? So that's what I'm looking for, the lengths of the 3 pieces. So I've assigned X to represent the length of the first. And then I'm reading up here that the second is 4 feet longer than the first. So I take X and add 4 to get the length of the second. And then it goes on to say, and the third piece is 3 feet longer than the second. So this X plus 4 is the second, and then I'm adding 3 more onto that to represent the length of the third. All right, so now I'm ready to put it all into an equation. So I should be able to take the length of the first, add it to the length of the second, add that to the length of the third, and that should total up to the 26 feet. So this is the first, this is the second, and this is the third. All right, so for the first I'm putting down X. For the second I'm putting down X plus 4, and for the third I'm putting down X plus 4 plus 3. And again, this is the first, this is the second, and this is the third length. All right, so here is my equals mark. Let me be sure I understand the separation between the left side and the right side. And as I look here on the left side, I see the variable X in there 3 times, so I'm going to combine those into a single term, 3X. And I also see the 4, and the 3. So I'm going to combine all of those. Let's see what that's going to be, 11. Copy down the equals, copy down the 26. So all I've done on the left-hand side is just pick up the like terms and combine them so that I've compressed this equation and made it simpler. All right, so I can see now that my next step is to subtract 11 from both sides. That gives me 15. And then dividing by this coefficient out in front of the X. And of course, those 3's are going to cancel out, and I end up with x is equal to 5. Now, remember here, we're looking for the lengths of all 3 pieces. So this is where it's very important that you've made the time to write down that x represents the length of the first. So here is x equal to 5. The second is x plus 4, which is 5 plus 4, which is 9. And the third one, I'm going to squeeze it down here, is x plus 4, which is the second, plus 3, which is 5 plus 4, which is the 9, plus 3, and that gives me 12. So my answers are 5, 9, and 12. All right, so I think that's a good place to stop.